So now we're down to the part 3 of our lecture on hybridization. So to go back, we are still on the bonding models of our course on advanced inorganic chemistry. And we are now into the third learning objective, which is the explanation of the concept of hybridization, including how atomic orbitals mix to form new hybrid orbitals. So, what is hybridization? Hybridization of atomic orbitals means a mixture. So, this is, for example, when you mix salt plus water, you get a mixture. Also, when you mix sugar plus water, you also get a mixture. And similarly, when you consider two atomic orbitals which are different from each other, for example, this s p or s orbital here, must be an s, and the p orbital, so you can form an sp orbital which will look like this, or it could look like this. So two orbitals mixed together or combined together also form hybrid orbitals. And note that hybridization is the mixture or combination of atomic orbitals, just like the mixture of salt and water. And hence, we define hybridization as when different atomic orbitals of same or nearly same energy combine together to form atomic orbitals. Why are orbitals hybridized? In our previous video, for the part 2 of this lecture, we've explained there that our valence bond theory has limitations, and in order to explain the structures and bond angles of molecules, Linus Pauling modified the valence bond theory using this hybridization concept. And so, why are orbitals, or why do we need to study hybridization? Because of these two important concepts. It shows us the molecular geometry, or the shape of the molecules. Secondly, it shows us the bonding of atomic orbitals. And we also need to know why atomic orbitals are hybridized, or why do we need hybridization. So consider this example. You have an s orbital and a p orbital for atoms A and B. So for example, this is atom A and you have atom B. And atom A here has an s orbital and a p orbital. And atom B has an s orbital and an s orbital. So when atom A reacts with the B atoms, it will have sp and ss bonds. And that means that it has two types of bonds, which is impossible or wrong. So it cannot have two types of bonds. Thus, to solve this issue, we'll look at hybridization of atomic orbitals or mixture of atomic orbitals. So we can now have, for A, we cannot have an S and a P separately here. We put this together, or a mixture. It's already a mixture. So it is an sp, and this one is also an sp orbital. So it means that this becomes sp and this becomes s SSP. That means that you have SSP or SSP bonds here, and that already is 100% right. And also, we need to note that hybridization of atomic orbitals does not take place in every molecule. There are molecules such as your hydrogen, hydrochloric acid, and hydrogen sulfide, which does not have, or there's no hybridization that occurs. In a nutshell, this is our hybridization. We have your sp, sp2, sp3, sp3d, sp3d2, and you can see here that in our table, it will show you the figures or illustrations of the structures when it has 0 lone pairs, 1 lone pair, 2 lone pairs, and 3 lone pairs. First, let's look at sp3 hybridization. So sp3 means that you have 1 s and 3 p's in this hybridization of carbon. So this means that you have 4 orbitals or hybrid orbitals in this carbon atom with 25% s character and 75% p character. So to form the sp3 hybridization, we consider a carbon atom in the ground state. So we know that there are 6 electrons present in your carbon atom. So this is, oops, what happened? This is 6 carbon. In ground state, we have 1s2, 2s2, and 2p2. So it will look like this for the x, y, and z. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is when your carbon atom is in ground state. And when it is in excited state, we draw that again. 2s becomes 1 and this 2p becomes 3. So you have this 1, 2, 3. This is when it is in excited state, and we take this part. This is already the 4 hybrid orbitals. So when it is in hybrid form, we have already again your 1s, and then you have your 4 orbitals is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one is sp3, 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 sp3. So in figure, we look at your carbon atom like this. So this carbon has 1, 2, 3, 4, and this has sp3 character. Note that the bond angle for your sp3 hybridization is 109.5 degrees, and the shape is tetrahedral. One example is methane here with 4 sigma bonds on central atom. So we carried the example a while ago. We have your carbon atom with 1, 2, 3, 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals. And since your hydrogen is 1 electron, therefore it will bond to those hybrid sp3 orbitals. So note that these 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals are called degenerate orbitals. And degenerate orbitals means that they all have the same energy. Now let's look at sp2 hybridization. So this means that it is a mixture of atomic orbitals where there is one s orbital and two p orbitals. Hence, there's a total of 3 orbitals present in sp2 hybridization, and there is 33% s character and 66% p character. Now, how do these orbitals combine together in sp2 hybridization? So again, we consider carbon in its ground state. So carbon again has 6 electrons. In ground state, you have your 1s2, 2s2, and your 2p2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is in ground state. So again, we just rewrite it in excited state. You have 1s2, 2s1, and 2p3. So this is again fully filled. This has 1, and you have here your x, y, z, 2 p's. So 1, 2, 3. So in a hybrid state for sp2 hybridization, since we have only 3 orbitals here, we only take this 3. So we leave out the z character here. So in hybrid state, we still have 1 s2, that's complete, and then we have 3 hybrid orbitals. This is your sp2, sp2, and sp2. This is your 1s. And then do not forget that you still have here your 2pz, which is actually unhybridized. And these unhybridized actually have more energy than all the 3 hybrid orbitals. So when we look at the geometry of sp3 hybridization, it will look like this. You have your carbon atom, and then you have your 3 sp2 orbitals, but you still have one unhybridized orbital, which is your z, p2pz. So if we have an example for this 2p sp2 hybridization, an example is your C2H4. For C2H4, since you have 2 hydrogen atoms, so 2 carbon atoms, we draw another one here. So this one, this, and this, since all this can have hydrogen, remember that you still have also the 2pz here. You have this is where you have your pi bond. So note that the bond angle for your sp2 hybridization of carbon, bond angle is 120 degrees and the shape is trigonal. Okay, so this is another example of your sp2 hybridization in trigonal planar. Next, we have sp hybridization. And for sp hybridization, we have one s orbital and one p orbital. That means we have two hybrid orbitals here with 50% s character and 50% p character. So let us look at how these two orbitals are present in sp hybridization. So we again consider your carbon atom in its ground state, the same as a while ago, 2s2, 2p2. We'll just quickly draw that. XYZ 1, 2. This is in its ground state, and at its excited state we have still your 1s2, 2s1, and your 2p3. So for sp hybridization of carbon, we only need two of your hybrid orbitals. So for your hybrid state, you still have the 1s1, and then you have your two hybrid orbitals, 1, 2 with sp character. So you're still left with your y and your z 2p's. So these are your unhybridized orbitals. So in figure, it will look like this. You have your carbon atom, and then you have your sp2 hybridized atomic orbitals. And do not forget that you still have your y and your z, which is unhybridized. So example here is your C2H2. So C2H2, you have two of these carbon atoms. Again, this is the second carbon atom. And do not forget the X, the Y, and the Z unhybridized. So here, you will see that you have your bonding already. This is sharing one electron each for the carbon atoms, and this is a sigma bond. Then we also have the bonding with the hydrogen atom and another hydrogen atom here, and this makes it complete. And then we have your pi bonding here and another pi bonding here. So this is the example of C2H2. And note that the bond angle for your sp hybridization is 180 degrees, and the shape is, because it's 180 degrees, that is linear. To easily calculate hybridization, we need to also have a trick to calculate the lone pair of the central atom. So we have this in your periodic table, and we can easily see the valency of the atoms according to the group numbers. So for group numbers 1 to 3, kung ano yung group number nila, yun din yung valency nila. For example, this is group 1, 1 ang valence electrons nila. But for groups 4 and groups 8, this one is 8 minus the group number. So this one is 8 minus 8, that is 0. 8 minus 7, that is 1. 8 minus 6, that is 2. 8 minus 5, that is 3. And 8 minus 4, that is 4. And to get the lone pair of the central atom, we use this formula, the group number of the central atom minus the valency of the atoms. So for example, we have water. So for water, what is the group number of oxygen? So this is the group number of the central atom minus the valency of the other atoms. So we have 2 hydrogen here. So the group number of oxygen is 6 minus 2 times, what is the valency of hydrogen? That is 1. Therefore, 6 minus 2, it's equal to 4. So, this 4 here means that you need to divide it by 2 to get the number of lone pairs. So 4 divided by 2, that means that you have 2 lone pairs in water. So let's have another example for your sulfur dioxide. So central atom is sulfur, and the other atoms, your oxygen, you have 2 of that, so 2 of that. So we need to have the group number of sulfur. Sulfur is this. Again, it is 6 minus 2 times the valency of oxygen. Oxygen is here, valency is 2 here. So that is 6 minus 2 times 2 is 4. You have 2 this is 2 divided by 2. That means that you have 1 lone pair for your sulfur dioxide. So that is how you get your number of lone pairs. Now let me quickly teach you the concept of hybrid orbitals. If there are 2 orbitals, the hybrid orbitals is sp. 2 orbitals, you have sp. If you have 3, that is sp2. If you have 4, that is sp3. If you have 5, that is sp3d. And if you have 6, that is sp3d2. And for 2 orbitals, which is sp, it's easy to remember that here you have the geometry is linear. And for 3 orbitals or sp2, you have tri, that is the geometry is trigonal planar. If you have 4, that means tetra, this is tetrahedral. For 5, it is tri plus bi equals 5. So that's trigonal bipyramidal. And for 6, this is octahedral. So this is an easy way to remember the number of orbitals, the type of hybridization, and the geometry of those hybridization. We know how to compute for the number of lone pairs. We go straight ahead to calculating directly the hybridization. So from the formula on lone pairs, hybridization is equal to lone pair plus number of surrounding atoms. So for example, your methane, for methane, how many lone pairs for methane? So you have your central atom is the carbon minus 4 of the valency of hydrogen. So carbon group number is 4 minus 4 times valency of hydrogen is 1. So 4 minus 4 equals 0. So divided by 2, that is 0 lone pairs. So you use that for your hybridization. Hybridization is equal to lone pair, 0 lone pair plus how many surrounding atoms. So you have 4 surrounding atoms. That means that you have 4 hybridization. If you have 4 orbitals, that means this is sp3. And if it is 4 orbitals, that is tetra. The shape is tetrahedral. Let's have another example. How about carbon dioxide? So again, the trick is to find the number of lone pairs first. Central atom is carbon, and you have 2 oxygen, which is the surrounding atoms. So what is the group number of carbon? That is still 4 minus 2. The valency of oxygen is 2. So 4 minus 4 equals 0 over 2. That means you have 0 lone pairs. So for the hybridization, 0 plus how many surrounding atoms? You have here 2 surrounding atoms. That means you have 2 orbitals. For 2 orbitals, you have sp. Only 2. sp, and sp for 2, you have a linear structure. So let's look at a more complex example for nitrogen. So if we have different atoms with ions for nitrogen. So again, still, we need to compute for the lone pair. So lone pair, nitrogen group is 5 plus, we need to add 1 because you have 1 electron. Remember, these are electrons, so we add the electron there, minus 3 of your oxygen. Oxygen valency is 2. So we have this. So we have 6 minus 6 is equal to 0 divided by 2. We still have 0 electrons here. So for hybridization, it's 0 plus how many surrounding atoms? That is 3. It's equal to 3. So this is sp2, 1, 2, 3. And since you have 3, this is trigonal. The structure or the geometry is trigonal. So let's look at this another example. Lone pair is, for nitrogen group number, it's 5. So we minus 1 since this is a positive, and then minus 2 of the oxygen. Valency is 2. So if you compute that, that is 4 minus 4 equals 0 over 2. That means you have 0 lone pairs again. So for hybridization, it's equal to 0 plus how many surrounding atoms? You have 2. So this is 2 orbitals. If we have 2 orbitals, that is 1, 2, meaning that is sp, and the shape is linear. So lastly, for the example for nitrogen, we have lone pair here. Still, the group number of nitrogen is 5, and this is a plus. So we minus 1 minus, we have 4 hydrogen, and the valency is 1. If we compute that, 4 minus 4 is still 0. Over 2 is 0 lone pairs. If we compute for hybridization, that is 0 lone pairs plus 4 surrounding atoms. It gives us 4 orbitals. That means you have 1 s and 3 p's. So sp3, you have 4. That is tetrahedral. So this cheat sheet shows us the shortcut for determining hybridization. So it says here, count the number of attached atoms plus the number of lone pairs. So the same as my formula a while ago, if you know the number of lone pairs already, known lone pairs plus the attached atoms, that is your number of orbitals, and that is the corresponding hybridization. So take a pause of this video to do this exercise. Predict the geometry and hybridization of the following molecules. So when you're ready to check your answers for your hydrogen fluoride, this is linear. It has an sp hybridization. For phosphine gas, this is sp3. So if sp3, you have 4, this is tetrahedral. For SF6, this is sp2. If you have sp2, that's 1, 2, 3, trigonal, trigonal. And for chlorine gas, this is ClCl. This is sp linear. This is the summary of the ground state of the carbon and its excited state, so that we can see here for sp3, we've used the 4 half filled. We use only 3 for sp2, and we use only 2 for sp. Valence bond theory, that oxygen molecule has no unpaired electrons, therefore it should be diamagnetic. There is no unpaired electron. However, experiments show that there are two unpaired electrons and it is paramagnetic. That is the limitation of our valence bond theory, which will be answered by molecular orbital theory, which we will be tackling on part 4 of this lecture.